Hey everyone, I'm going to do a review here of Sonic Universe 71, 72, part 1 of 2 of the new Spark of Life arc. And from what I could tell, it's really interesting. It's really intriguing. It is done, let me see who the writer is on it. Well, the plot is done by Ian Flynn. The script is by Aaliyah Baker. So the plot by Ian, the script is by Aaliyah. And Aaliyah, I have to say, has done a pretty decent job so far with these first two issues. I like how she's kind of put some flaws with the characters, like, Sally obviously is not that good of a cook, as we find out. But I like what we get here with Spark of Life because this seems to be more to Nicole's past. Um, sorry about that. Than Dr. Edley is letting on. Apparently, she was created from somebody. She used to be somebody physically, and yet she can't remember certain things. Like there's a point in the story, I think it's in part two, where Edley, the doctor, wants to know if she remembers anything from the past, certain events and stuff, and she says she can only remember certain things from a certain context. Basically, her memories may differ from what she should remember. So anyway, we get that. They were also introduced in part one to phage, the phage, and it seems that phage it's sort of like a how do you say, like a ghost in the machine, kind of a ghost in the shell like thing. Kind of like, okay, for anybody that's watched Ghost in the Shell, you all know that the antagonist was sort of like a ghost in the machine, right? That's basically what phage is. It's kind of like a ghost in the machine. It looks like, from what my standard is, well, not my standard, but what it looks like from what I could tell, is phage is trying to gain their own physical body. It seems like that's what they're doing. And not to give much away, but towards the end of the first part, Phage is looking on at Sally and Nicole, and basically is intrigued by the fact that one could go into the digital world being physical, and the other that is digital could become physical. So it's really interesting and a nice introduction. We kind of get a little bit of backstory on Dr. Edley's past and how he was connected to the royal family. We find out that apparently in this timeline, it was he that had given Sally the blue rings, basically for her blades. So that was, and he had done that recently. He had sent that to her, I guess, recently or something, and they were constructed out of the rings that he had found at the lakes, and he had done some research and stuff. So that's basically how Sally got her rings and things. And then also he's responsible for the grand archives, I think, over in the kingdom. So basically, you can look back and all that. We find out that when Nicole was created, she is also linked to the Grand Archives as well. So basically, you can look up. So basically, they can use her to look up or research anything from the past. But obviously, as we find out in the second part, uh, there are certain things that Nicole can't remember from the past, and you kind of get a little bit of suspicion that Dr. Edley had made that so that she wouldn't be like, okay, I should remember this, but I don't remember it. And if I can just take a look for a second at part two and kind of get an idea of that. Basically, he's asking her, Nicole, do you remember when you were first activated? And she says, technically, I remember everything, but how I remember it is so different. I don't. I can't view those events as I see things now. And we kind of get a flashback to Mobotropolis, and you kind of see the doctor in tears or something, and it looks like he's trying to first activate Nicole for the very first time. And you kind of get that idea that it's something personal for him, because he's asking, when Nicole comes online for the first time, is she is somebody? It's like somebody that obviously is very close to him. And I would have to say, despite what people may think, I think we're going to have a daughter, father, daughter kind of connection here. I think it's not just because, Big asked the question in part one if, Dr. Edley is, Nicole's father. And Sally's like, yeah, you can kind of say that. But I think what we're going to find out, because that clue was given to us there in part one, that there's going to be a real life father-daughter connection. That something happened, but we don't know what. We don't know what. And when he first gives Nicole to Sally back in part one in the flashback, she asks basically what her name is because the voice is female. And Edley's kind of like, her name? And she's like, yeah, sounds like a girl. What should I call her? And he was like, how about Nick? He couldn't really say Nicole's name. And then her father's like, how about Nicole after a long past queen of our line? So basically, again, you kind of get the clues that Nicole was, I think, obviously his real life daughter. Maybe even sister. We don't really know. And yet you kind of see in part two that he's trying to, that obviously Dr. Edley kind of suppressed the memories to the point that she can remember just about everything, but she can't really remember exactly how things went or how it's like she knows when she was activated, but she remembers things a little bit differently than she should. So it kind of gives you an idea that there is more to this. And then especially at the end of part two, you really get an idea that something's up. Because you have Sally basically communicating with Rhoda finally, and as she's done communicating with him, she sees this big old little shed area, almost like a cabin, or like a little cave or something like that, little shed area or something. And she walks in, and just as she's walking in, that's when Dr. Edley sees her, and we kind of end part two at that, and that's going to lead us into part three. And obviously, there's something there because he's not, at the end of part two, he's not too happy with Sally kind of snooping around. So, again, it's very intriguing, very interesting, and one can only suspect that there's going to be more to it as we keep in the next two issues and stuff. So we'll just have to keep tabs on that. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to basically resubscribe to Sonic Universe, was because of stuff like this. I mean, you're taking a character like Nicole, who you would think normally, okay, everybody else has got like a one-shot origin story in the Digest magazines or the Super Size magazines, or even in backstories of certain issues, and yet here she is getting a full-blown four-issue story arc. So very intriguing here. And then Phage, you can kind of tell is like an entity, like I say, kind of like a ghost, kind of like that antagonist in Ghost in the Machine, and maybe the antagonist in the Matrix. Somebody that basically, obviously wants to get out into the real world, wants to control the world, not just from within the digital world, but from the outside as well. You kind of see that a little bit, especially with the fact that somehow Phage has infiltrated a lot of the systems, a lot of the Doctor's systems, including his reprogrammed Badniks as well. We also get kind of an idea about what the digital world is from their perspective. And basically the digital world is something that I guess you could say can be seen, that you can see but can't see kind of deal. It's basically the idea we get is it's something that's there, but it's just physically, it's like it's something that's there, yet it's not yet, it's not there. It's like it's there, but it's not there kind of deal. Something like that. But basically it exists. And we kind of get the idea that it might have existed according to the theory. I think they say in the first part. Let me see here. um, basically it's kind of like an artificial reality. It doesn't exist in the real world, which is to say that while it can be accessed from computers, it doesn't seem to be actually housed in one on anywhere. In fact, no one knows where it came from. It might be that the entire digital world moves like an invisible cloud, kind of like, the saved clouds here in real life. Overlapping of the systems. Some people think it might even predate computing as we know it. To be honest, what we know is more theory than fact. Act. Um, so basically, that's Rhoda's explanation. And I do like how they have, when they do the little like flashbacks or explanations by the characters, you have like little icons for them right there. That's really cool. But again, basically, it's still really something that is there, but it's not like housed in just anywhere. It's just like it's there. It can be accessed from anywhere. It can be reached from anywhere. It's not particularly housed, and it basically it's like say something like, how we have the cloud storages here, and for saving data. It's basically something like that. It's like when they advertise, oh, you can save your movies in the cloud and watch them anywhere. It's like that. So yeah, that's basically what it sounds like to me. Overall, I really liked these first two parts. I really did. I like the focus that they're trying to give on the characters and the interactions and how they all connect together. It's really cool there. Um, and Dr. Edley and Nicole, I just feel this is going to be a real family issue here. I really do. Maybe it's just me, but that's my opinion. And I have to give Aaliyah Baker a lot of credit for first story that she's done. I give her a lot of credit for really doing a decent job and really getting us hooked, really getting us connected. And I hope to see more from her after this arc and in the future. And honestly, for a plot, Ian Flynn, you did okay, and I think you made the right decision in letting somebody else write the script instead of continuously taking on the hurdle. But hopefully we'll see more from her, and again hopefully it'll take the stress off Ian, and Ian can focus more on what he has to do to really make good stories, because he has that potential to do that. But overall, definitely good first two parts to Spark of Life, and Aaliyah Baker doing did definitely a good job in her debut so far in hooking us in. So can't wait to see what happens in part three. I recommend checking these out if you can. Download them through Archie apps, Archie Comics ad, download them, buy them physically. And that's all I'm going to really say. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll talk to you later.